I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. This is our June 25th, 2013 meeting. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7:01. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson. Here. Ms. Gerber.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Ms. Krafka.
Here.
Mr. Thacker.
Here.
Ms. Elliott is absent, and I believe she's excused.
All right, would you stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. If we could, with council's blessing, go ahead. We have some awards we'd like to give out tonight, and I'd like to go ahead and move forward with giving out the awards, if that would be okay. With that, I would like to give Mr. David Friend the floor.
Okay. A really good part of my job that I really like. To be sneaky is the best part. Try to be, which is very difficult right here because we're kind of small. It's very difficult. But hopefully you'll all be pleased after this. We have a couple officers I want to first recognize, and that is Officer Jeff Wood and Officer Mike Tulowitz. Could you friend the Senate, please? We've got two recognitions. Actually, they're letter of accommodations. And I would like to read the first one, and then for the second one, we have additional presentation. Officer Wood and Officer Matulowicz, I would like to extend Amelia Village's thanks for your hard work on April 19, 2013 for assisting the Union Township Life Squad with the cardiac arrest resuscitation for Jennifer Ambergy, located at 5 Eagle Court in Amelia. The medic call was dispatched as difficulty as breathing. Upon responding, your quick actions recognized that Ms. Jennifer Ambergy was in cardiac arrest, and immediate action was essential in providing her with the best chance of recovery. It shows care and professionalism that you have for the citizens of our community, and then to remain not just on the scene, but to continue to assist Union Township EMS until their arrival with efforts by providing CPR and gathering needed information. At this time, Amelia Village would like to fully recognize Officers Jeff Wood and Officer Mike Matulowitz for his life-saving efforts in this letter of accommodation to go above and beyond the call of duty and the job well done. Appreciate it. And then they might as well stay up here for this one too. This is a little longer, so we'll get through it. As a result of a rash of car break-ins dating back to March 30th, the officers of the Amelia Police Department conducted numerous foot patrols in Quail Creek and Woodside Park subdivision. During early morning hours of Saturday, May 12th, around 2 o'clock in the morning, Officer Wood was on foot patrol in the Woodside Park Division. Officer Matulowitz was stationary in his personal vehicle on Huntsman's Trace in the area of Beach Circle. About 3:30, Officer Matulowitz observed a subject walking north on Huntsman's Trace toward Grove Park, dressed in dark-colored hooded jacket and black pants. Officer Wood positioned himself to be able to observe the individual as he entered Woodside Park subdivision. The subject was observed walking south of Woodside Park and then down Cedar Park Drive. He was observed walking up the residence driveways, looking into parked vehicles. The subject cut through backyards going east and came out on Ashwood Place. He was observed entering multiple cars in the cul-de-sac and continuing to walk north on Ashwood, entering driveways, looking into cars. Multiple car dome lights were observed turning on and off during this time frame. As the subject was walking north on Ashwood, he was walking towards Officer Wood, who was concealed behind the driveway located at 16 Ashwood. And you know, for two officers with shiny badges and stuff like that, it's more difficult than you think to just say stuff like that. They're not in camo or anything. The subject observed entering the property at 17 Ashwood. He opened the passenger door to a gray Hyundai in the driveway and then moved to a white Honda minivan. At this time, Officer Wood confronted the individual who ran after identifying himself as a police officer, telling them to stop, instructed him multiple times. The subject was apprehended after a brief foot chase and being tackled in the yard of 19 Ashwood Place with a Kimbo slice. I still don't know what a Kimbo slice is. The subject was identified as Damian Ritchie, 18 years old, from Amelia. The suspect was charged with several counts of theft of vehicles spanning over the last 2 or 3 months. We as police officers, day shift, all shifts, had taken reports of this guy doing bad things to thieving from cars and things like that. Obstructing official business, criminal mischief through Amelia Mayor's Court. There's a lot of man hours and hard work that's gone into the investigating of these cases. These guys got out, didn't stay in the comforts of their patrol car. They went out and they got the job done. So their letter of recommendation goes like this. Officer Wood and Officer Matulowicz, I would like to extend Amelia Village's thanks for your efforts on May 12th in capturing the car break-in thief that had been perpetrating crime to the residents of Quail Creek and Sedona Ridge for the past several months. The persistence and man hours that you put in had a positive effect on the Amelia Police Department in accomplishing its goal of stopping crime. I appreciate your leadership, skill, and team building ability. You are an asset to the Amelia Police Department and the community it serves. You have proved that the harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. Thank you for your duty and a job well done.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Chief, can you stand up there with us? So we get a
Well, we're not done yet, so I'm going to take you to, there we go, we get you, that way you get the camera.
Which camera am I? I'm right there.
Right there.
Oh, perfect.
I'm like David, you know, it's an honor to give these gentlemen an award. And from council and myself, we've decided that we think they also deserve an award for their outstanding service, and all our police officers are very outstanding here in Amelia. So with that, I would like to give the certificate of appreciation presented to Officer Jeff Wood and Officer Mike Matulowicz. This service award is presented as a token of appreciation for your unrelenting efforts on May 12, 2013, and for outstanding and commendable service to the citizens of Amelia Village. And I'd like to personally thank
Appreciate that.
each
Thank you,
one.
sir.
Thank you.
Now you guys can go sit down.
Thank you.
And I've got one more special one. You know, this year, or every year, the Claremont County, all the county recognizes all the police departments and their officers for their efforts and awards for things just like this. The problem with this year was the awards were very slim. They cut down on those. I don't know why, but it seemed like all the awards there, the few that they did give, were towards investigative teams of larger departments, not smaller ones. This person, I put in for this award, like I saw last year, but they didn't have it. Little did she know that I did do that. So, but she wasn't recognized because there wasn't an award as far as that goes. So, but there is now. So, let's sit again.
Right here next to me.
On 3/12, March 12, 2012, Officer Levins responded to residents in Amelia reference a domestic complaint. After speaking with the complainant, it was found that her son had been acting strange and had marijuana pipe in his possession. Officer Levin's dispatch call did not end here. As the investigating continued, due to her determination for answers, she secured a consent to search form and found that the young adult male was cultivating mushrooms and had 2 mason jars filled with an unknown brown substance. Other multiple drug-related items were removed from the home and was subsequently submitted to the Hamilton County Crime Lab for examination. I remember when she brought him in that day and had him sitting out there in the parking lot. And I said, "Janice, what do you have?" And she goes, "I don't know what it is, but it's something." And it was something. The drug items were analyzed by the lab and found that Officer Levin had recovered over 150 grams of psilocybin, which is a mushroom psilocybin, which is a mushroom hallucinogen, of which the amount was over 5 times bulk weight for a Schedule I drug, and over 707 grams of but it's a psychedelic tryptamine hallucinogen, which was clearly over 5 times the bulk amount of a Schedule I hallucinogen. This type of drug was the largest DMT recovery in Claremont County history. Charges of manufacturing illegal assembly, possession of drug felonies were filed with mandatory prison time consequences. Officer Levins not only protected the residents of her household, one being younger juvenile, but the community from being exposed to this dangerous DMT drug. At this time, I would like to fully recognize Officer Janice Levins for going above and beyond the call of duty. Well done, keeping the citizens safe and preserving the quality of life in Amelia Village.
I feel lucky because we didn't put that word on this plaque because I could never say that word. It gives me great pleasure to be able to give our fine officers these awards, and especially you this one. On behalf of council, myself as mayor, I'd like to give you this plaque. It says, "Recognition of Service presented to Janice Lovins, June 25th, 2013. This service award is presented as a token of our appreciation for your outstanding efforts on March 21st, 2012. Your service beyond the call of duty will long be remembered. Amelia Village." Thank you very much. If council so chooses, take about a 5-minute recess, and David's brought us a nice cake, and for people like me, there's a veggie tray over there. So please feel free to help yourself. I'd like to go ahead and bring the meeting back to order at 7:30. Next order of business is the approval of the previous meeting minutes for June 11th. Does everybody have a copy of that? If so, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson. Staying. Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Crafton.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott is absent. We have a 4-1-1 vote. It passes.
All right. Next, we have the approval of the bills. Everybody have a copy of the bills? If so, and I have no comments, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion we pay the bills.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion, and I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson. Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Crafton.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott is absent. 5-0. We have a pass.
got her there, Kevin.
This week, I think.
Next is legislation. We have. We'll have our third reading. This is the property maintenance code. Amelia Village, Ohio, ordinance O-2013-27, an ordinance adopting Chapter 154 Exterior Property Maintenance Code of the Codified Ordinances of Amelia Village. This time, if no one has any questions, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adopt.
We have a motion to adopt. We have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott is absent. Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Kravka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
No.
4 yeas, 1 absent, 1 nay. I believe it passes.
You have 3 yays.
3.
Correct. You only have, you're right, you have 4. Correct.
Yes, it passes.
Kind of weird not having all those other emergency clauses and all that stuff, wasn't it? So hopefully we can do more of that. Second piece of legislation is our old policy manual had a revision for sick leave donations. After consideration, talking with David, I think it's something we should put back into our policy manual. I have in front of council an ordinance that will adopt sick leave donation for the personnel policy manual. Is there any questions on it? Go ahead and take a minute and read it. I know after research, none of the other villages do this, but your townships and your cities and other entities do this. I think it's a good program to have. I'll start over here. Chris, do you have any questions? Renee? Terry? Do you have any questions? You all good?
Yep.
All right, with that, I'll go ahead and read Amelia Village, Ohio ordinance O-2013-33, an ordinance adopting section 613, sick leave donations of the personnel policy manual and declaring an emergency. At this time, I need a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on 3 separate dates.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott is absent. Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Kravka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 5-0.
This time, I need a motion for the adoption of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott is absent. Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Kravka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 5-0.
This time I need a motion for the adoption of the emergency clause.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson. Yay. Ms. Elliott absent. Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Crafton.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, one absent.
All right, thank you. That's our legislation portion. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and open the floor to our police chief, Mr. David Friend.
Council, Mayor. Some of the occurrences we had, we've been pretty busy. I think we've had maybe almost 500 calls this month and did a lot of traffic too. So I'll get into that here in just a minute. One of the main ones I have, that you have in front of you, are we investigated a marijuana complaint at Grove Park. The officer responded, asked the described subject or suspect that described by the passerby, the complainant, about the incident of you smoking. He denied smoking marijuana. And then all of a sudden, a pipe fell out of his pants and to the ground. So he didn't deny it any longer, and he was charged. So there was a purse stolen at Nuri's funeral home, where the person was actually in the funeral during the time. She came in kind of a couple hours after the funeral. She didn't want to believe that somebody could have done such a thing, but it happened, and she reported on station here to the officer. The officer had her call her credit card company to see if it had been used recently, and that credit card had been used at Kirker's, the one out west, to purchase a gift card, one of those Visa or Master gift cards. Since the number of the gift card was on the transaction, the credit card company was called and found that the suspect had used it 7 minutes earlier to purchase at Circle K. The only Circle K within that range is Circle K towards Withensville. So the officer went to the Circle K towards Withensville, got a security video, got the pictures, put it on Swoop, which is be on the lookout for all agencies to try to recognize this one person, which Union Township did recognize him. They were investigating him for stealing purses out of churches. He would attend church, and then when the lady was distracted by something, he would take it and walk out the door. This is some kind of guy right here. So he ended up sitting in jail. He had a captive audience because the officer went to the jail and advised him what he had. He had photographs, had a DVD with Nuri's printed right over it. Said that we had security video in Nuri's parking lot. That's an investigative technique that he could have used to cause him a mission, and he did confess to it. He says, "You got me." Then, so he confessed to the crime, and charges were filed for that. It took a lot of legwork to do that, a lot of smarts to do that, but this guy got it done. So, the kind of officers, sample of officers that you have here. In the Speedway, the officers called the Speedway station in case of road rage between a bicycle and a car. When the car went past the bicyclist got something thrown at him. He thought, well, he saw the person pull in the Speedway station. The bicyclist pulled up beside him and started exchanging some words, I guess, to the people in the car. The person driving the car got a gun out and pointed at him and said, "I'm going to shoot you," and this looked just like a Glock type gun. The victim called to report the incident and the license number, and it was found out that it was really a BB gun, but he was charged with it anyway. And looking at the gun, you could have sworn it was just as black as just exactly like one. So it just goes to show you, if you're in a road rage accident, that could have been a real gun that could actually get you the shot. So you got to be careful about approaching things like that. I went to a meeting of the ABA with the Amelia Business Association, and town artist Sue Watson is going to be in town, and she's going to be doing this kind of thing. She makes these type maps, and it tells something about the business on the back. And we'll let you look at one of these, because these are truly artwork type things. I'll let you look at this. she has done this from the West Coast to the East Coast, and she moves into an area, and she, sorry, it's upside down. That's fine. She moves into an area, and she goes to businesses, and she says, hey, you want your business on this kind of thing? And what she does is she sells them, which is very reasonable, sells them a small, medium, or large representation, which you have examples of right there, and has the name, the number of the business, and everything. She does this for the love, because you can imagine how much footwork this takes and the time. But she'll have this done, she says, in 2 to 3 months, and she's going to be doing it right here in Amelia. So if anyone's interested out there in having their business, I do have the name and the number of Sue Watson, and she'll be glad to do it. You know, to sort of personalize this, she puts, you know, she's a mother with the kids, and what she does is she puts one of her kids in one of these things every time she does one, and the kids have to play Where's Waldo and try to find themselves. And it could be something little like your kids involved in kayaking, so they would have to find that, and that's kind of what she does. But she does it truly for the love of the thing. But in our case, village municipalities, they're free. Parks are free. They'll all be on here. East Fork should probably have something sticking, and people will tell them kind of where East Fork is. People put this up in municipalities and banks and things like that and frame them. It's going to be too late for those stores in Kroger. She'll do Kroger's, but it's going to be too late for the newer ones, because the next time this will be done will be between 5 and 7 years. So it'd be a little bit too late. But what they can do is they can certainly hang it in their business and get those. And they get so many of them with the purchase of that. So that's that. I thought it was a pretty interesting meeting. Yeah, I do have calls for service in the back. We had 555 calls, which is really going at it. And the revenue is upward near 14,000. So we've got it done in traffic as well. If you turn in the first white sheet that has a little red star above it, you'll see that we added something. I was asked about this last council meeting, but we didn't have that yet, but we do now. It's the officer when he checks neighborhood. That's right down there. So it has the amount of checks each officer has checked in the neighborhood, and it totals them up. We have the times and everything on our log sheets as well. So it gives you an idea how much checking goes on around there. This is sort of like, this is not very true, because it's always going to be above the number, because they go through these plats all the time. So it's way above, and I don't count myself, and I go in too, so it's way above those numbers. But it gives you kind of an idea of how much we're doing there. And I've got everything pretty much down to the letter as far as statistically speaking. So you can look at that if you want, but if you don't have any questions, I guess I'm done. I guess I did enough today. So are there any questions or comments or anything?
Thanks, David. Mr. Jackson, Fire Chief, please.
Good evening. No monthly report this month, unfortunately. We decided to upgrade our record management software, and that didn't go too well. Just leave it at that. Hopefully we will have 2 reports for you next month. So that process is going to work. Some happenings in the village. Probably the biggest thing we had occur, it's up a Great Shot restaurant. The gentleman was very lucky there. He ended up having very minor injuries. He careened. Luckily, it was late in the evening. They were closing. There wasn't anybody out at the tables outside. He careened off the road and took out the tables, cornered the building, probably flipped multiple times. He was actually airborne when he hit the building.
He was only doing 25.
Uh-huh. Yeah. He was flying. He was flying.
We could hear that hit in Sedona Ridge.
How about that? I mean, he hit the building, and actually his tow hooks on his pickup truck, there were 2 holes in the building, running sideways. So he was actually sideways when he hit the building. He was extremely lucky, gentleman. Like I said, I don't know that he spent any more than a couple days in the hospital. I think he did very well on that end. So unfortunately, they're still boarded up and tarped up, and I'm sure they will be for quite a while. Just a quick update on Kroger's. We were up there again this morning for a final on their fuel station. Don't know a date yet, but they're going to be doing unattended fueling on 3rd shift. And they put in, like many of the Kroger's have, the suppression system in their canopy that will automatically fire if there's a fire there. Pretty sharp system. So again, don't have a date yet when they're going to start that, but everything is done as far as all of our inspections in the building department. There is a misconception out and about that you can pull in any gas station, put in a credit card, and get fuel. If you can, that's a problem. It's not supposed to work that way. We found a few stations that will do that. The only way they're permitted to do that is what Kroger's has done with an actual suppression system in the canopy, alarm that calls an alarm company, and then calls us. The stores in extreme fast track. Talking with a gentleman from the building department, between laborers and Kroger employees, there's over 500 people in that store a day trying to get that store done by the 4th of July. They're out working on the parking lot. They were still out working on the parking lot when I came in here tonight, facing in the parking lot trying to get blacktop. So they're on an extreme fast track to get that on. Whether that's going to happen or not, they got a lot of work to do. Besides that, nothing else new. Any questions for me? Hopefully we'll have 2 reports next. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, to add on to the driver that hit the Scots, I interviewed him, finally found him over in Anderson, interviewed him. And the way that happened is he dropped his phone, reached down, picked it up. He looked up, clipped the pole, saw the building coming, panicked, stepped as hard as he could on what he thought was the brake, but it was the accelerator. So, and we get that from time to time. People panic and they do that. And he said he just shut his eyes and grabbed on that steering wheel until the car stopped. And that's just very. He was limping a little bit, but he was okay. So. And he's insured. So that's it.
That was the week for running into buildings. It was like the 5th or 6th one and like a 5. Yep. Crazy.
It was ironic we got dispatched to that. I was watching the video on the news of Taco Bell.
Yeah.
This can't be for real.
I think that's what drew most of the news crews. Wasn't the fact of the wreck. It's like, how many other buildings they got to hit? You know? All right, recreation. Do we have a report for recreation? No, we do not. Do not have a zoning report, and Danny is off right now, so when she comes back. The only thing I'd like to bring up on zoning is we did have our first public hearing over the rental registration. We had 2 fine gentlemen in the back that showed up. I don't believe it was pertaining to them, but thanks for coming. So we will have another one further down, and I will put that out, and we'll do the public notice in the paper and all that when we're going to do another public hearing for that. With that, do we have any public input tonight?
Hello, Council, Mayor. My name is Tom Burnett. We live at 19 Woodside Park Drive. I just want to let you know that Fisher or Dries have made no attempt to clean the streets in our neighborhood. And the lots, the vacant lots, the grass is getting higher and higher. Now, I hear this about the code enforcement officer cannot figure out who owns these lots, and Dries doesn't know, that they're selling lots that they don't know who owns them. Now, somewhere in Batavia, somebody, if you would bring them a map, maybe Danny needs to go over there to Batavia and find out, who owns these lots. In other words, if there was a crack house or somebody doing drugs on a lot, I'm sure you could find out who that lot belongs to. But it seems funny, anything to do with degrees of the house building, it's like nobody, knows anything about it. That's all I had to say. Hey.
Thank you, sir. I will run that by Danny and see if we can get that taken care of. Before council input, I've got a couple of things I'd like to bring up. First of all, we worked in a cemetery this weekend, and I'd like to thank everyone who participated in that. We worked Saturday and Sunday, and we got the 5 biggest monuments moved, which was huge. It was hot. It was long. I'd like to thank Katie and Derek for coming out, and Chris for coming out, and also Home Depot sent a couple gentlemen out to help also. And Chuck, our maintenance guy, came in and worked all day Sunday and did a bang-up job. He ran the equipment and couldn't ask for anything to go better. Chuck's a machine. He is. It was hot.
He does work.
At this time, I brought up in the past, we got a quote. It was brought up by Renee to get a quote on installing a northbound 5-section signal at Oak Street and 125. After looking at the budget, we do have the money. I would like to see if council would like to make a motion to not exceed $3,000. I think it's $2,950 to go ahead and move forward with putting in that turn signal at Oak Street and 125, or Jenny Lynn has 2 names.
When were you going to do that when they came out to cut the loop, when they do the resurfacing there on Jenny Lynn?
He said the loop's already in there on this side. We were thinking about doing that, but we're not really sure when the resurfacing will start on our end of the project. If we come up the tail end of the resurfacing, it could be back in September, October. If that happens, school's already started again, we're right back in the same scenario. So I'd like to get the light up prior to that.
Is he charging us any more to do it before he cuts the loop or not? Okay.
No, that's not gonna, that'll have no cost difference on this at all. He has to cut the loops anyway, and the loop's already there.
And you already did upgrade the LED lights and such when the light went bad, so.
So actually, I'm looking for council to make a motion not to exceed $3,000 and to go ahead and install the northbound number 5-section signal light.
I make the motion.
Took away my thunder, man.
Second.
Second.
Motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson? Yay. Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Ms. Crafton?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott is absent, 5-0. Passes.
Also, I would like to attend a class. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it, but I would like to attend it. It is the Cemetery Association is having their annual conference, and it will be going over what we need to do with our cemetery as far as renting and selling and different things we can do in the cemetery. It's going to be held on August 12th and 13th. And the cost would be, for one registration, $225. That'll cover, I think it covers the partial meals and the room and board. 'Cause right now we don't have anybody controlling, and we don't have anybody, with Ricky leaving, we don't have anyone that does any of the selling of their, which I think we have to also change that.
Yeah, that
For
was my next
cemetery.
question. Is the mayor allowed to be the sexton?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I don't believe there's any specific
Restriction.
criteria for the sexton.
So,
Because won't we eventually have to, if we start going that way, like we did with the other 3 lots that we sold, right now, it has to be approved, if anything gets sold anyway through us.
Correct. It would have to come through this council. We do have lots available. but it's a limited number. And once we do the project we're doing, I would think it would be easy to say there'll be at least 200 more lots available. And at that time, council might think about hiring somebody part-time for that cemetery when that happens. Because we now do currently have a cemetery office.
Should we have that whole cemetery scanned or x-rayed to ensure that we found all the graves up there and headstones?
That's partly why I'd like to go with this. They have a new grid system they're coming out with. And I think when we do that, we need to do it off of the grid system they're talking about. They've condensed the lot size now. So you may get well over 200. And what they would do is they would come in, x-ray, like you said, the portion we have not. They would grid it for us. And all this software that we can use, if I'm not mistaken, we can use through the state, correct, Kevin, who has a program?
The state is currently rewriting the cemetery software, but there is a module now to track lots, sales, costs and such.
So we could use their information to plot it and lot it and what we need to do with it, so. So what I'm asking for is, I guess not to exceed $250. It's really $225 in case anything else comes up. So I can go ahead and register to go to that.
If you can't attend, will you put someone?
If I can't, I won't, I'll make sure I can attend before, but this isn't until August. I just want to go ahead and get it done now. Because I won't be here at the next meeting, so I don't want to.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Ms. Crafton?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott absent, 5-0, passes.
The only thing else I have is the budget hearing. We will have a budget hearing here July 9th at 6:30, prior to the council meeting. That's all the information I have. Any other council input?
Anybody else got anything? Mine's council related.
Mine is,
All right.
want me to go first?
Okay.
Okay. I did get back the bids from the county on the road repaving. It came in way under the quote, which is great. So we actually probably could add more footage than we originally thought, because we already had budgeted almost 80,000, and it came in at 67,000. So looks like we'll be able to do a little bit more. So I did inform Alex at the county before they start, let us know, so we can see which part to extend possibly. So that's what I have.
You got any suggestions on what we're going, or are we thinking about?
Huntsman was kind of my choice, because that's always been the first one. It'll allow us to get about 600 linear feet, and that's basically 300 because it's per side.
Yeah.
So about 600 more feet down Huntsman. So that'll get us down past the Quail Creek area probably. So that's just my suggestion, but before it happens, you guys can look at it and see.
That would be our best bang for the buck. They're going to be there.
Right.
We're only going to the park, and that'll take us around that corner at the park, take us past maybe the condos if we're lucky.
I hope to, yeah.
So that would be probably, I would be in favor of that.
That's the way I'm inclined to go too, because I mean that whole road's starting to kind of go down.
Right. That's what I had.
All right.
Anybody else?
Anybody on this side before Renee tells us?
This is purely for my own benefit. I just want to let everybody know that on Thursday, I do the tournament direction, and this will be our 8th year that we have the Staff Sergeant Keith Matt Moppin baseball tournament. That'll be June 27th through the 30th. We play at Matt's High School, Glen Estee, Midland, over on Clough by Amelia High School. And this year we're also going to use the UC Claremont, the brand new field that the Reds just redid. We have teams coming from North Carolina, Tennessee, Cleveland, Indiana, and all the proceeds go to the Yellow Ribbon Center, which, if anybody doesn't know, they just lost their building. So there's nowhere for them to go. So if anybody out there would like to.
Your place.
And then, all the proceeds from the tournament go to the Yellow Ribbon Center and the Staff Sergeant Matt Maupin Scholarship Fund. We've given away and raised to date over $50,000. So if anybody wants to come out and support us, that'd be great.
All right. Anybody else have anything? If not, our next council meeting will be Tuesday, July 9th, 2013 at 7 p.m. And again, remember, there is a budget hearing at 6:30. At 7 o'clock, the budget will be presented at council. So other than that, if no one else has any other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much.